In 2024, a group known as SEAS, the Southeast Alaska Sailing Club, sponsored their biennial sailboat race called the Admiralty Island Rally. With 7 legs in this race, with overnight stops each night and a 2-night stop in Baranof Warm Springs, participants are treated to the best day sailing in Southeast Alaska and scenic stops overnight to anchor in various bays where whales, Dall's porpoises, and sea otters and other wildlife call home. I participated in my Catalina 27 sailboat named Lyric along with a friend who got seasick, so we didn't finish in the running, but we did finish. This is the story of that race. With about 15 trips to Baranof Warm Springs under my belt through the years, I've learned interesting historical tidbits about this area, its people, geography, wildlife, and I've met people from all over the world, including retired folks who travel the world visiting hot springs. My deepest concern is with the influx of tourists and have seen a severe uptick in their numbers during the past decade. Vegetation around the natural hot springs suffers with heavy foot traffic. After 2 days and 2 nights in the therapeutic Baranof Warm Springs, we're off on voyage number 3 of this race, with our next stop being Basket Bay, a bay which can be a tough anchorage, as we'll see shortly. Meanwhile, we'll be passing the entrance to Peril Strait, which marks the boundary between Baranof Island and Chichikoff Island, and is the inside route from Chatham Strait to Sitka, Alaska. Okay, we're about halfway between Baranof and Basket Bay, and there are whitecaps I'm having to actively steer. 15 knots of breeze. We're doing 4.5 to 5.5 knots under a double reef mainsail, and I'm sort of keeping up with Rick over here. But I'm really having to actively steer. Sea state is 4 feet from behind. Lyric does good on a following sea, and boy, popped out of Baranof, the forecast was calling for southeast winds to 10, seas to 2 feet. Yeah, right. We got 15 knots of wind and seas to 4 to 5 feet. Every once in a while I'll get a following sea at 5 feet. But things are going well. Had a great time at Baranof, and we're about, like I said, halfway to Basket Bay. I know the waves don't look all that big, but there's some good sizes coming up from behind. Porpoises. By the time we were treated to the doll's porpoises, we'd dropped the mainsail and were motoring because 5 miles from Basket Bay, the wind died. I dropped the headsail after using it for 15 miles because the wind speed picked up to 20 knots, and Lyric is a light boat, so we sailed an additional 15 nautical miles on just the mainsail. You can see where we came head to wind, dropped the mainsail into the lazy sheets, then turned around and headed for Basket Bay. The problem with Basket Bay is that it's susceptible to wind and waves from the southeast. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So Denise Wiltz on a Lingay motored into the bay, then radioed the fleet that there were indeed 3-foot waves in the anchorage. So, on VHF radio, Rick Edwards suggested Pavlov Harbor about 10 miles north inside Freshwater Bay. It was a great suggestion. Welcome to Pavlov Harbor, whose Tlingit name is Nasanki. In 1849, it was named Gavin Pavlova by Captain Tabenkov, which means Paul's Harbor. The fleet arrived 2 hours later than we would have at Basket Bay, so after anchoring, it was kind of a short night. We did see a brown bear on the beach, though, as we were anchoring, but we were so busy setting the anchor we didn't have time to take a video. Pavlov Harbor is a prime bear viewing location close to the freshwater lake, which we'll see shortly. In a moment, you'll see pilings on your left, just past the point on the left, that might have been part of an old mining claim. Pavlov Creek is a great spot for bear viewing during salmon runs, but it has viewing restrictions. According to the Alaska Department of Natural Resources, quote, "When approaching Pavlov Creek, only land boats and offload people on the north side. Do not take boats or watercraft any closer than 75 yards from the falls. To get closer to the falls by land, walk the top edge of the north beach on the well-defined path below the line of alders, or the firm trail just inside the margin of the woods until arriving at the grassy knoll about 75 yards from the falls." The trip from Pavlov Harbor to Swanson Harbor is leg 5 out of 7 legs and was 27 miles in length, but took us nearly 5.5 hours to complete because once we passed Point Augusta and got into the notorious icy strait, we ran into 20 to 25 knots of wind on the nose and seas to 4 feet with an occasional 5-foot wave, at times slowing Lyric down to 2.5 knots. This caused her hull to come so far out of the water at times that it would slap on the bottom of the boat when it came back down. Add to that driving rain and it made for a long trip. I actually favored the lee side of Point Couverton, hoping for a break from the wind and waves from the north, but that didn't happen until we were about a mile from the entrance to Swanson Harbor. This area of icy strait is notorious for high winds and heavy seas because it's a confluence of 3 different canals: Sutherland Canal, Chatham Strait, and Cross Sound. Many a mariner has braved this area, and a few of them paid the price for it. So here we are on day 7 of the Admiralty race. And last night, Casey and I pulled up into Swanson Harbor. We got some bad weather, 3 to 4 foot seas, knocking the boat down to 2.5 knots at times, but generally we're doing about 4. And we're at the dock here now in Swanson. I've never been here before. It's a pretty open area. Good place to anchor, and in a northerly it seemed to be okay. But we are in some really shallow water. We're on the inside of the dock here, and when we pulled in last night, they're like, go forward, this is the deep end. Well, it's not very deep. As a matter of fact, on the fathometer right now it's 6.8 feet. So that means I have 6 feet of clear water under my bow, or under my keel. So we're gonna wait for about another hour. As you can see, stuff moving in, the tide is coming in. So it would be good to go here in about an hour. Heading back to Ogg Bay. We'll be there at about 4 to 5 today. Weather is a little bit rainy. You can see the rain on different things, so I might have to break out my fallies. But we'll be in Ogg Bay at about 4 to 5 o'clock. Seas are supposed to be to 3 feet and then laying down to 2 feet. So it might be bouncy to begin with when we go into Sutherland Canal, and then it lays down to 2 feet with winds to 10, which is extremely manageable. Anyway, beautiful spot. Some beautiful boats here. Quintessential Alaska fishing vessel. Leg 6 will take us from Swanson Harbor to Statter Harbor, known locally as Ogg Bay, and named after the Ognu Tlingit tribe. It's about 30 miles and takes us back out into the now somewhat tamed icy strait, past Funter Bay to Round Point Retreat, head down Saginaw Channel, leave the shelter of Shelter Island, and make our way into Ogg Bay, where I'll drop Casey off to catch her plane, but not before we get a hot bite at the famous Hot Bite restaurant and meet up with another race participant, Captain Rick Edwards from Morningstar. I'll overnight here this evening and then do leg 7 solo in the morning. You're looking over the north end of Admiralty Island and at the coastal Sawtooth Mountain Range behind Juneau, which is where the 47-mile wide and 90-mile long Juneau icefield resides, replete with 40 large valley glaciers and 100 smaller ones. They're so fast, we've never catch up to them. So he's blowing several times. That means he's gonna fluke. So with that whale sighting, we made our way down Saginaw Channel to Auk Bay, Statter Harbor, where Casey packed her gear to catch her flight, and we cleaned and somewhat got Lyric organized. But before she left, we caught a hot bite at the famous Hot Bite Grill with our friend and fellow racer Rick Edwards. Lyric has a custom galley, and Casey was a very good cook, so here's a look at a few of the dishes she prepared during the race. With my belly full and the boat more organized, I caught about 6 hours of sleep before taking off the next morning for the 7th and final leg of the race from Auk Bay to my home port of Harris Harbor. Okay, Lyric and I are now homeward bound. Pretty good night's sleep last night. I got about 6 hours solid sleep. This is beautiful Statter Harbor. We get mega yachts in here. So Juneau is about 6 hours that way, about 30 miles. Should be getting in at 4 o'clock tonight. Tied up to my own berth. I'm going to spend the night tonight. Get everything ship-shape down below, because it's a mess after 7 or 8 days with 2 people on board. So it's been a fantastic trip, and would I do it again? Absolutely. Coming under the Juneau Douglas Bridge is always a sign that Lyric and I have made it home again. That one was a great adventure. Holy crap. Nice to have about a knot and a half of current behind me, pushing me back into Harris Harbor. Thanks for coming along. That's it for the 2024 Admiralty Island Rally, sponsored by SEAS, the Southeast Alaska Sailing Club. I have 4 other videos I'll be producing in the near future for other races and boat deliveries I've done, including crewing in August of 2024 on a Hunter 460 sailboat from Ketchikan, Alaska to Port Townsend, Washington. Crewing in August of 2022 on another Hunter 460 from Astoria, Oregon, crossing the Columbia River Bar to San Francisco, California. A delivery in August of 2021 of a 44-foot Katie Krogan trawler from Juneau, Alaska across the Gulf of Alaska to Valdez, Alaska. Crewing on a 38-foot Prout catamaran during the 2019 Baja Haha race from San Diego, California to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. So like and subscribe for future videos, and feel free to leave a comment. And do keep in mind that a sailor is an artist whose medium is the wind.